Okay, this is part 41 of Rebel. This is the last one I am recording today, so hopefully the last one with there are firework noises, loud noises, popping noises, gun noises, bomb noises in the background. I cannot change it. Unfortunately, I cannot control other people's decisions. I don't think that should be the one responsible for that anyway. But here we go. Okay, Eden. Pressa jerks back with a gasp of shock. Blood sprays the floor as the bullet hits her hard in her left shoulder. She falls to her knees. I'm stepping in front of her before I realize what I'm doing. You know I was the one behind all this. I snap at Han. The iron smell of blood penetrates the air. Behind me, Pressa bites back a choked cry. Han doesn't look moved at all. Instead, he aims his gun toward Pressa's leg. You can keep talking while I work, he says. I'll let you know when it's your turn. He readies to fire again. I lunge between them. Wait, I shout out, holding my hands up. Please, wait a second, But he's no longer interested in talking. He shifts his gun slightly, aiming instead at her left arm. My mind spins frantically. Let her go and I'll do whatever you want. Use me as ransom, kill me, anything. He gives me a cool look. I already planned on ransoming you out, he replies with a shrug. And what would your son think of all this? I demand. He would think you're stalling me for time, Han says. There's no sympathy in his eyes now, nothing but a low burning fire at the audacity I have for bringing up his family. He points his gun at Pressa's head this time. I stand in front of her, but it's a helpless gesture. Is this what you imagined for yourself? If your son and wife were alive, I finally snap. You think you're the only one who's ever suffered? You think this is the solution to everything that's gone wrong for you? This time, a flash of anger darts across his features. He shifts his gun so that it's now pointing at me instead. I wouldn't know, would I? Because they're gone. And that's the last time you will mention my family to me again. A surge of adrenaline floods my veins. He's going to shoot me. I think of my own family, of my brother, all I have left, waiting alone for my signal. There's no way I'm going to let this man kill me here. I'm walking out alive one way or another. As if something in the universe has aligned at my thoughts, I'm compelled to look behind Han toward the glass windows lining the top of the building. There, silhouetted against the shadows, is the shape of a young man crouched on top of one of the towering computer shelves. Daniel is here. It's all I need to see. I suddenly lunge toward Han. He doesn't expect me to do this. All he's known of me is the awkward brother, the shy one, the one who still has to wear his glasses in the dark. I duck low as I reach him. Before he can fire at me, I barrel into his legs and throw him off balance. Remember what Daniel taught you. The words flow through me like a current of electricity. In one move, I seize the gun from his hand and hold it up to his temple. His guards all still at the sight. Back away from her, I shout at them as I nod towards Pressa's kneeling figure. Drop your weapons. In my grasp, Han laughs. Only now can I tell that he's noticeably weaker than I remember him from the last time I saw him. Either he didn't avoid Pressa's serum as well as he claimed, or his illness has worsened significantly. Perhaps it's both. Well, he says, thank goodness you've got some surprises left in you. A sharp elbow strikes me hard in the chin. Stars burst in my vision. I'm forced to release him. He still moves faster than I can. He whirls around, seizes my arm, and locks it into a hold. I barely manage to twist out of his grasp, but he knocks the gun from my hand. It clatters to the floor. He reaches down for it. In the same moment, I take the chip and swipe all its data onto the platform's system. The entire web of nodes flashes in a ripple of scarlet. I allow myself a grim, satisfied smile. Han's system shudders, corrupted, then deletes. Almost immediately, I see virtual markers reappear over Pressa's head, over Dominic Han himself, over his guards. The city's original system has reset. This is the only thing that buys me some time. Dominic Han freezes, shocked at the sight of his system undone. I don't wait for his reaction beyond that. I'm already sprinting toward Pressa, who has managed to struggle to her feet. In the chaos of the moment, I grab her hand and yank her forward with me. I chance a single glance over my shoulder. Daniel's no longer where he was crouched by the window. If he's here, then he might have already alerted the AIS as to where we are. The troops should be arriving soon. Han's eyes are trained on me now, and the fury in them sends a wave of terror through me. I turn around and run faster. Hang in there, I say breathlessly to Pressa. She just clenches her jaw and fights to keep pace with me. I've had worse, she replies. A bullet pings behind us. I ducked instinctively as we round a corner of one hall. Behind us come the shots of Han's guards. I stoop for a second, frantically gathering my thoughts. We have to hold out until the reinforcements arrive. Suddenly, a popping sound comes from the ceiling. I glance up to see artificial misters all turn on in unison, filling the space with a thick fog. It's the building's original fire retardant, meant to put out fires in this maze of computers without damaging the systems with water. The mist is so dense that it settles onto us like a blanket. I can barely see Pressa beside me. Around us, the guards shout in frustration. An alarm begins to blare. I smile a little. Daniel must have set it off. Pressa taps me. In the thick fog, an emergency light has turned on, its searing green light cutting through the veil of mist at the far end of the building. An exit, she whispers to me. I nod. Come on, I urge, shaking her hand again. Where's Daniel? Can he see us through all this? We dash through the gray mist, keeping our hands out against the computers to guide us. I feel a surge of panic at how blind we are. The murky surroundings, the shouts in the air, it all reminds me of the colony's final attack. Of my stumbling through the mist, calling out my brother's name. My heart pounds against my chest. I force it down, trying to tell myself that I'm not back there. Another bullet sparks against a computer near us. We both cringe, falling to our knees. They're getting closer to us. Then suddenly I hear a startled yell, followed by a sharp crack that must be to someone's head. Daniel. Had they gotten him? I look behind us, trying to see through the fog, but I can't make anything out. Another loud crack, followed by a scuffle. Then, out of the mist materializes a familiar face covered in a black half mask and a cap. My brother's blue eyes meet ours. They're on their way, he says to me before he bends down and helps me hoist Pressa back onto her feet. She hisses in pain. It's all I can do to not break down in front of Daniel. He's here. He's come for me. I start to say something back, but a ripple of gunfire behind us forces us all to drop again to our knees. The bullets ping hard against the computers. They're coming from the side, Daniel says to us in a rush. They're cutting us off from the exit. Where do we go? Pressa gasps out. Daniel glances up where a lattice of steps snakes upward onto a metal walkway. Up, he replies. We're going to draw them away from you. Make a run for it. Do you understand? She looks ready to argue, but Daniel's eyes are the color of steel. She decides against it, then folds her lips into a grim line and nods. Daniel looks at me. Remember our climb? He asks. I nod without a word. Good. With one leap, he pulls himself onto the top of the computer shelves, then reaches down for me with a hand. Then let's go. I take his hand and haul myself up. Down below, Pressa crouches, facing the direction of the exit. Daniel glances toward where the shadows of guards can be seen darting through the fog. He nods at me and forms a foothold with his hands. I take a few steps, then step up with his help and reach for the first stair railing I can. My fingers close around one of the metal banisters. I haul myself up. As I go, Daniel comes beside me, moving easily through the fog. Bullets spark below us. I hope they're not aiming for Pressa. She's already invisible to me in the mist. I pull myself over the first railing and hop up the next one. Daniel's up before me and reaching down to help me. I climb up and over the second stair railing. Now we can look out at the shrouded warehouse. Above us is the walkway that leads along the top of the building before curving back down toward the exit. We're almost there. On the other side beyond the exit door is the Antarctican Army. June. Come on, Daniel urges me. We rush up the last flight of stairs until we reach the edge of the walkway suspended above the rest of the building. That's where I freeze. Standing at the other end of the walkway is Dominic Hahn. He must have seen where we were headed, even through the fog. He knew we were heading for that exit. Now he's blocking our way. His eyes glint dark and furious through the haze. Behind us, I hear the clatter of his guards' footsteps on the lowest staircase. We're trapped. Daniel's arm shoots out to protect me. Stay back, he whispers, his gaze locked on Han. No, I reply. This has always been my fight, the beginning of my haunted trips down here to the Undercity, the struggle to understand who I am. So I push my brother's arm away and shake my head. When he resists, I turn to look him directly in the eyes. I can do this. Something about my expression seems to click with him. He searches my face, hesitating, and then forces himself to take a step back. Fair enough, he says, but hell if I'll let you go alone. A small smile touches the edge of my mouth. Never said I didn't want your help, I reply. Han walks toward us. A red light, probably turned on with the alarm, has started sweeping across the building, and it washes the man in scarlet, as if he were drenched in blood. His lips curl into a snarl. Where do you think you'll end up? He calls out to me. Even now in his anguish, his voice is smooth and deep. Where do you think that exit leads to? A place you don't control, I answer. He laughs bitterly. Does it make a difference? You'll be under the thumb of someone else. And I could have shown you something so much better. He draws something in his hand. A glint of metal flashes in the fog. Then he lunges for me. He's so fast that I barely have time to throw myself to the floor of the walkway. Daniel leaps up onto the railing with a single jump, spins, and ends up on Han's other side. But the man keeps coming. He swipes at me once, twice. I scramble backward. As the blade flashes again in the light, I kick my leg up. My boot catches his hand. It's not enough to make him drop the knife, but it stops him long enough for me to get up and throw myself at him. He stumbles backward. I twist around in his arms before he can stab at me with the knife, then force his wrist to one side. Behind him, Daniel shoots out a leg and trips the man. He goes down, taking me with him. But he's back on his feet in an instant. Another dagger appears in his other hand. He strikes at my brother. Daniel arcs backward, but one of the blades catches him on his shirt and slices clean through. Daniel winces. A touch of red stains the fabric. Everything around me fades at the sight. My teeth clench. The muscles in my arms tense. You asked me if I thought this was the solution for everything gone wrong in my life. Han calls out. He strikes at me and I jump backward. The guards are making their way up the stairs behind me. They'll be here any moment now. Nothing can fix the past, Eden. Don't you know that by now? Where is your brother? Your brother. I lunge at him again. This time, in my rage, I kick out at his hand and manage to knock one of the knives from his grasp. It clatters to the walkway floor. He's starting to tire. Beads of sweat line his brow. This isn't about fixing the past, I shout back. It's about repairing the future, and all you're doing is making it better. Han finishes, striking at me again. His knife slashes through my sleeve. I feel the bite of the blade as I duck low, seeking the knife he dropped. Daniel, still clutching his chest, whirls around to face the first guard that reaches the end of the walkway. He dodges a blow from the man and kicks him hard against the railing. Han is breathing heavily now. I can hear the rasp of his lungs. Do you think the city is going to change what they're doing? Now that you've erased our chances of fixing things, do you think the city will do what's right? That they'll listen to you? He dawns down toward the exit. Think your young friend will do anything other than go back to suffering in the Undercity? Even now, even here, his words have a way of seeping into me. I remember the way he shot Pressa, that he would have put a bullet through her head if I hadn't stepped in. The city wasn't the one who tried to kill her, I snap and throw another punch at him. Or who killed her father. He dodges my blow and hits back hard. His fist catches me on my jaw. Stars burst in my vision. I collapse onto the walkway. Somewhere in the distance comes a shout from Daniel. And, am I hearing it right? A shout from outside the building through a megaphone. A searing bright light shines into the warehouse through the glass windows. The AIS has arrived. Then a boot kicks me hard in the stomach. Pain lances through me. I gasp, curling into a ball. You think she's better off living? Han's voice is hoarse with anger now, as if he's no longer talking about Pressa, but about someone else, so that she can struggle to get by day after day on her rigged level. You think you'll keep in touch with her after your elite internship? You'll return to your life in the sky floors while she gets to crumple a little more with each passing year. He seizes me by my collar and drags me up. My face is so close to him that I can see the film of tears against his eyes. I see all this because I've seen it before. Call me whatever you want. I'm not the villain you seek. You're right. I spit back in his face and I'm telling the truth. He's not. But you've got your eyes set on the wrong villain, too. I lunge up with my boots and kick him as hard as I can. He releases me. If you have to sell your soul in the quest to make things better, I say through gritted teeth, then you'll never succeed. He slams me back against the railing. Behind him, I glimpse Daniel leaping over the side of the banister and swinging out of the grasp of one of the guards. There are more and more of them now. Han stares at me dead in the eyes. Be their puppet, then, he snarls. Let them animate your broken limbs. Then he grabs me and shoves me over the side of the balcony. Daniel shrieks my name. As I fall, I grapple for a handhold and barely manage to cling to the side of the railing, trying not to tumble down 3 floors. Below, the exit finally bursts open. A swarm of shouts suddenly echoes through the space. The troops, the agents. Their guns are held up, pointing at us. I struggle to hang on. Above me, Han gets ready to dislodge my grip and send me falling. I stare up at him with a look not of anger but of grim determination. This isn't what they would have wanted, I say to him. Then I twist up. Daniel's lesson comes to me in a flash. I swing to one side, grasp the banister with my other hand, and then use my momentum to kick high enough for my boots to grip the railing where my hands are. I shimmy up with a final burst of strength. I don't know if what I said made Han hesitate for an instant. Maybe the faces of his lost family appeared to him. Maybe what froze him for that fraction of a second was the thought of those he'd once loved. Whatever the reason, Han doesn't get a chance to strike me down before I swing over the railing's edge. My boots connect directly with his chest. The force of the impact sends him careening backward. He stumbles, hits the railing, and flips over it. For an instant, it looks like he might catch himself, but then he tumbles over. I have a sudden instinct to catch him and pull him back. A surge of panic rushes through me, but it's too late now. For a moment, he looks like he's frozen in a state of falling. Then he hits the shelves below and crumples to the floor. Agents swarm around his body, their guns all pointed down at him. Han's guards have already backed away from Daniel. Their hands are up, their weapons on the ground as soldiers head up to our walkway. Among them, I see a young woman with a lean figure, her shoulder-length hair sweeping as she races up the steps toward us. June. I sink to my knees. I look at my brother, who staggers toward me, still bleeding from his chest. He crouches down beside me with a weary look. We're both bruised and battered, but we're alive. How long ago it seemed that Pressa and I joined in on the drone races, when I couldn't bear to stay away from the Undercity, where I could still see echoes of my past. Maybe not much has changed since then. Tonight, after I go to bed, will I still be haunted by my nightmares? Will I see Pressa crumpling to the ground, bleeding? Will Han's final gaze lock onto mine as he falls from the railings? I don't know if he's dead. I still don't even know if he was entirely wrong. Daniel puts his hand on my neck. The sudden surge of adrenaline is waning now, and we lean against each other in exhaustion. Our lives have always been a war. Maybe that war won't ever be over, but at the end of it all, we still have each other. It's this thought that keeps me whole. As Antarctican soldiers approach us, I pull back to give my brother a tired smile. Still here, I say. He smiles back. Still here, he echoes, and not leaving any time soon.